Hey there, I'm Juan Francisco, and I'm a psychic medium. I'm here with you to explore your intuition, the supernatural, and self-empowerment. This is Third Eyesight. Hey everybody, welcome to another week on Third Eyesight. For today's topic, I am, for those watching on video, Sella is behind the barricade so that she does not come to... It's just to interrupt the recording like she usually does. And you can see her little head popping up in the YouTube video version of the podcast. It looks kind of cute and funny. So this week we're going to talk about who are we when we are on the other side? Are we the same person we were in the physical world? Before we get to that, just wanted to do some life updates. I think I'm going to make it a more common thing to just share what's going on in life or what has recently happened in life. Nothing major has happened. But I want to share that I put up a YouTube short, YouTube's version of a reel, I guess. And in my YouTube short, and it's the same video I put up on my other platforms on the same day, it was about, you don't have to be part of the chaos, not your circus, not your monkeys. You don't have to make their problem your problem. And someone commented, privilege says what? Sarcastically. And when I read it, I thought, I got to respond. I got to explain myself. And I crafted different responses to that comment and hit submit. Then I deleted, then edited, submitted, then deleted, then edited. Going over and over again. And then I thought, you know what? I don't need to explain myself now, because they don't understand the video. Now, someone can take that video I put up and make of it whatever they want to. They can make it about politics. They can make it about personal things. I know why I posted it. And someone who really knows me well knows how I feel about politics and how I feel about white supremacy and what I feel about privilege, because I've talked about it a lot. At least I feel like I've talked about it a lot more than some psychics may want to talk about it. And so I'm sharing this because it was another practice, another chance for me to practice not engaging, not responding. And I was even going to respond something sarcastic like, hey, thanks for your comment. It helps with my engagement. But that's just catty. Unless it's something really, if someone really, really went out of their way to insult me, then I'll say, something I can't avoid. I'll say, hey, thanks for your comment. It gives my video a lot of exposure. Thank you. But I was not going to do that. And this person, I don't know who this person is. I was going to actually make an assumption about this person, but I have no idea who they are. I went to their profile. They had the trans flag colors in their profile picture and no videos uploaded. It seems like they just use their account just to watch YouTube videos. So I don't know much about this person, but yeah, absolutely trans lives matter. Absolutely Black lives matter. And absolutely Gaza needs a lot of help right now. And we need two-state solutions and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's interesting to me how this one video about me saying, don't be part of the chaos, not your circus, not your monkeys, it became something very political. Now, my videos that I put up, they're rarely about politics, but you could apply them to whatever you want to apply them to. And I think in this time we're living in, for the last 10 years, and including today, people get very sensitive about certain things. And rightfully so. I think there are some things that really need a lot of sensitivity and care. But then they want to take that feeling they have that they rightfully should have, and then they want to make it into ammo when they're talking to someone who agrees with them. So it's like, hello, you don't listen to any of my other stuff. You just found this one video I put up and decided to make a judgment about it, about me, about I'm blind to my privilege. When, girl, it was not about that. It was not about that. It was... I don't even know who this person was, like what their gender was. So before I get in trouble for anything, I call everyone girl. I call everybody girl. I just say girl a lot. Just want to say that. And see, I even have to think about that. So it's important to be conscious of these things, but then it becomes so silly when you just judge someone's whole opinion based on one video. So I was a little annoyed by that. I was really annoyed by that. And I decided to not leave a comment after going back and forth. Because what's it going to do? Who am I trying to prove? Who am I trying to prove something to, to say? Gosh, people who know me really well know what I'm all about. And that's that. So this kind of goes back to the point of the video I put up. Not my circus, not my monkeys. I'm not going to be part of the chaos. I'm not going to make someone's problem my problem. If someone wants to make something I said that has no issue to it, I really wanted it to apply to like catty friends, drama that people like to stir up in our lives. I really wanted it to be about that. But if someone wants to take that and make it mean something I did not intend it to mean at all, and doesn't even want to have a conversation about it, or doesn't want to ask a question about it, or challenge it with a question, instead just cut right to judgment sarcastically, not my problem. That sounds like you gotta find the right videos that are gonna really support how you feel. The algorithm is doing something to you that it's bringing up a lot of videos of people that you tend to just not feel good about. Or just have a conversation instead of cutting right to judgment. Not my problem, not my circus. Because I know what I'm about. People who listen to me intently, people who listen to me consistently on this podcast know what I'm about. I probably lost some followers because of how progressive I am. And that's that. I don't know. That really got me riled up this past week. And I think it was an interesting thing to talk about on this next podcast episode, because if you feel like you don't want to be part of something that feels like chaos to you, and it's hard because, again, in this day and age, we are surrounded by chaos, and some of that chaos has a big impact on how we're going to live our lives, how we're going to freely express ourselves, the rights we're going to have. You get to decide how involved you want to be. Do you want to be apathetic and let things just go by? Do you want to be fully involved and raise your voice? Do you want to raise your voice and also give yourself breaks in the day when you don't watch the news, you don't listen to the news? Each person is different. And I think as long as you're not apathetic, as long as you just let things happen to you, and not take some action with a vote, with your voice, that's the most important thing, not to be apathetic. And I guess my video was interpreted as me being just apathetic. But that's someone's interpretation. It's not the fact. Because they don't know me. Now that that's out of the way, I've been going through some tricky health issues, just like with my back, and it's been so annoying, and I'm in pain. I actually have a pillow behind my upper back right now because it's I think some a health condition I was born with my back is starting to really rear its ugly head, and I need to go get it checked out. So I'm nervous, really nervous. I don't know what else to say about that. That really stressed me out. That's all I'll say. It was very stressful, and I think I'm learning how to cope with stress a little better these days. Even though it's not looking great the way I cope, I'm aware that, okay, this is not how I should cope with stress. I should find new ways to help myself feel better when things like this get tough. So, on to the doctor. We shall see what happens. I'm fine, though. I am healthy otherwise. I'm good, and I'm breathing, and I'm eating, and I'm just annoyed, and I can't bend over to tie my shoe on my right side as easily as I can on my left side. So, we'll see what happens. All right, let's get to the topic. Done with me and over with me venting. Who are we when we die? I first want to talk about reincarnation. So I have done a regression session where I have seen 4 to 5 of my own past lives, and I have an episode on that. I think in the early parts, maybe in the first year of my podcast episodes, I have an episode on my reincarnation experience. My regression experience of seeing the lives I reincarnated into, with a lot of interesting insights. A lot of them making more sense today than they did back then. So, what is, and this is all my own belief, okay? This whole episode, as with every episode, is my own personal belief. So what do I believe about reincarnation? Let's start there first. I believe that when we die, when we pass and transition to the other side, we have a choice to be born into the next lifetime of somebody else. And it could be somebody 30 years from the life that just ended, 100 years, 200 years. Time doesn't exist on the other side. Sometimes it's immediate. There are families who say that their newborn reminds them so much of a person that just died a few years prior. And I believe that is very possible, that someone who passes gets reborn into another body almost immediately. I believe that we go through different lifetimes the way that we go through in school different grades, different lessons, hopefully with the end results in each lifetime of having learned something new about ourselves to help us evolve. We come to Earth, we come to the universe, the physical universe, to learn something that we cannot learn in the absence of darkness. On the other side, we are in the light. Always. We cannot learn even more about who we are, about who we are as light, unless we see something that is not light. Being in the light always, we get used to it. So we want something to teach us even more, tell us even more how beautiful of a light we are. So we come into this physical universe to experience things that are not light, to experience things that are not coming from love, because we are love and we want something different. And my dog is pounding on her bed trying to make it right now. Now, that is a very controversial opinion. It's one that's been written about many, many times in books and talked about many, many times. But some people say, well, Juan, you're saying that someone who got abused by a family asked for it or chose it? Or you're saying that somebody who was born into horrendous poverty, they chose that lifetime? It's hard for me to answer those questions because I would feel heartless to say, yeah, they chose it. And that doesn't sit right with me to say that. So it's difficult for me too. What I will say, I'm just going to talk about my own lifetime. Just my own lifetime. In my lifetime so far as Juan Francisco, I had a childhood that had some pretty severe mental abuse and emotional abuse, where I was not allowed to be myself at all, in terms of my dreams of career, the career I wanted, in terms of who I wanted to love, who I wanted to kiss. I was not allowed to be who I am. And then because I wasn't allowed to be who I am, I developed coping mechanisms to feel better about myself, to feel good enough, that ended up becoming compulsions in my adulthood. Actually, in my teenage years, adolescent years, it was already a compulsion. They were already compulsions, but in my adulthood, they became worse in my adulthood. And I was made fun of in school for what I look like. I was made fun of for my weight. I was made fun of for my eyes, for not being white. And when I look back at that childhood, I get very emotional because no child deserves to not feel good enough in their household and at school. I got both, mostly at home. I don't know if I chose that life, this life, to experience all that. But I'll say this. Today, I'm grateful for all of it. I don't wish it on anybody. I wouldn't, if I could do it all over again, I wouldn't want it to happen. I wouldn't. But I am grateful for all of it. Because of all that shit, I understand how to help other people who've been through that same stuff. Because I've chosen to want to help other people. Because of all that shit, I know what it means, or I know what it's like to be a very conservative, anti-gay person who's very religious. A phase I went through. I understand how to not demonize somebody because all they know is what they know. And they just need to be open to other ideas through conversation, if they're willing to be. If they're willing to be. I can have compassion for somebody who is who's homophobic and maybe who's transphobic too. I can have compassion for them to an extent because I was once that person. I was once that person as a result of all that crap I went through. That's how I coped to trying to be good enough to God. Capital G-O-D, God. I became very religious to save myself because of all that crap I went through. And now I'm here today. I'm gay. I'm psychic. Double whammy. And I can see the nuance in many things. I can see that everyone just wants to feel safe and be loved. That's all everyone wants. The way they want to go about it is very different, person to person. Sometimes very harmful. So, I'm grateful for all that crap. I'm grateful that through all the other crap I went through after that, years of feeling very self-denigrating, I really was self-damaging up until a couple years ago. In some respects, I was. I am here now, and I can talk about all that with the hopes of turning it in a way that inspires other people to love themselves. None of that would have happened. Well, I can't say that. I'm not a big what if or what if not kind of person. But my life would be very different, and my mission, I think, would be very different today if it wasn't for all that stuff I went through and how I overcame it all. And I believe, this is me patting myself on my shoulder maybe, but I don't know, but when I reincarnate into the next life, if that so happens, I will enter that next lifetime knowing things I didn't know before this lifetime, knowing how to love and honor myself, having the core belief that people just want to feel safe and be loved, and that there is love within them. Not a core belief that people will only like you if you're tall and skinny and white, that people will only like you if you make a lot of money. I will not go into that next lifetime with those beliefs because I came into this lifetime learning those. I was conditioned to learn those. Now, maybe in the next lifetime, because I do believe as children we are born into this world pure, usually pure. And then we are conditioned with all this stuff, all these learnings that don't really make us happy. So maybe in the next lifetime I'll be raised by a family who also wants to put me down. Not that this family that I have ever tried to put me down. They were just raising children based on what they knew about themselves, how the world sees them. And I have a very loving relationship with my family. I do. Very good relationship. And they tried their best, but it wasn't always supportive. And maybe the next lifetime, it'll be the same thing. I'll go into the planet, come into the planet with all these yes, I deserve love, I am love, and then be taught something else and be conditioned, and maybe it'll happen all over again. I don't know that. And I would hate to think that. and I won't even be conscious of it. Well, I'm not conscious. I am now not conscious of that lifetime because I'm not conscious of my other lifetimes I've had. So I guess it kind of doesn't make sense for me to dote on that or to think about it. But I think that it's just fascinating how, looking at my own life, how it really all is something that I am grateful for now. And I know what's going through some people's heads. Like, why would you be grateful for all that? But it's just what I feel. I haven't been brainwashed to think that. I haven't read a book that made me, like, force me to think that. Nothing has forced me to think this way. It's really how I feel. It really is how I feel. I hate it. I hate that it all happened, but I'm grateful for it. And I am okay holding the hate that it happened and the gratitude in both hands. I'm comfortable with that, but most people are not. And that's for each person to determine for themselves. So when we reincarnate, I believe that we do go through life struggles in each lifetime. I believe that we do go through things that hopefully show us at the end of the day that we deserve more than those things, that we are love, we are light, we don't need to put up with those things. And I think the end goal, in my very humble opinion, I think the end goal of reincarnating over and over again is to one day have the soul be so evolved that it only knows itself. It always knew itself as light. But then after going through all the crap of these lifetimes, even with all the crap it has experienced, still sees itself as light. And I think that is when a soul is most evolved, enlightened. That's just my opinion, though. Just my opinion. And I love you all. I appreciate you all, but I really don't need emails or messages telling me that I'm an evil person or I'm like, how dare you believe that? That's what I believe. If you want to come at me with a question or a conversation, I'm totally open to it. But if you just want to cut quick to judgment, save your breath, save your time. It's not worth your energy. Not worth your energy, because you're not going to change my mind. I will change my mind on my own if one day I learn something different. I'll give you something else that I believe that you may not like. What happens when we die? I don't believe in hell. For many of you who've been with this podcast forever, that's not a surprise to you. I don't believe in hell. I believe in low energy. I believe in energy levels, but I don't believe in a place. I don't believe in a place that God created to send people to punish. I do not believe that. I don't think, this is like 80%, 90%, what I confidence here. I don't think I believe in a devil, Lucifer, Satan. I don't believe there is a supreme anti-God. Because I think I ask myself, well, if God is all powerful, why would God create free will choice in human beings? Why would God allow free will choice in human beings to then punish them for giving them something he allowed? Why would God, all powerful, let a fallen angel become the supreme prince of darkness? Why? Doesn't make sense to me. But I believe in different energy levels. I believe there are people who function with low energy and people who function with high energy. And the same thing with souls. But I don't believe it's punishment. I said this in my last or second to last podcast about souls getting lost. I believe there's a lot of free will choice on the other side, just as there is on planet Earth in the physical universe. We decide what kind of energy we want to have. We decide whether we want to be good or bad. That's up to us. And when we die, I believe that we go through a life review, which many people have talked about before. When we die, we go through a life review where we look at this lifetime that we just exited and see how our actions fulfilled our soul, didn't fulfill our soul, and how our actions impacted other people. And we get to feel what the other person felt emotionally, mentally, when we committed those actions. We get to feel the pain, the sadness. Notice I say we get to feel. It's an opportunity to feel. Because by doing that, our soul learns, oh, that's what that felt for that person? That's what that felt like? Not a good thing that I did that. So I believe we go through a review process where we learn the impact our actions had on other people. And some people commit actions that are way bigger or impact way more people than actions you and I may take in this lifetime. But I don't believe that there's a hell. And listen, there are some people who have lived on this planet that I think that would deserve hell. But I can't bring myself to believe in hell. I just can't bring myself to do it. Why would an all-loving God let us play in this sandbox with any toy we want and then punish us for choosing the red toy? Punish us for choosing the yellow toy when you've given us the toys to play with? That doesn't make any sense to me. Again, don't come at me with your comments, because I've had people comment in the past on my YouTube videos or my Instagram videos and reels something about religion, and I'm like, listen, I'm not here to debate whether or not a devil exists, unless you want to have a very civil debate with honest conversation and discussion. Civil conversation, discussion. So these things I'm saying, people will not like it because people believe in attachments, they believe in exorcisms and possessions, and there's some things I don't have the answers to. I don't have the answer to why possessions happen. I have theories, but I don't have the answer. That's just what I believe. I believe that when we die, there is no hell, there is no prince of darkness, there is no burning fire. I believe sometimes, though, that let's say we were somebody who lived in a lot of low energy, then when we pass, we may be matched by that same energy. A pope said heaven is a state of mind. I think it was Pope John Paul II said heaven is a state of mind. So maybe we do create heaven for ourselves when we die. The universe matches whatever we want to create. So similarly, if we believe we are evil, if we believe that we are entitled to everything, which makes us greedy, and when we die, maybe that mindset that we had in our human bodies, it stays with the soul and creates this other side that matches that energy. That's possible. That's possible. And maybe that's why some people see hell when they die. So with those things out of the way, my belief on reincarnation, my belief on what happens when we die, who are we when we die? Is Nana still Nana with the red hair and the purple blouses, the thick rimmed glasses? Is Nana still Nana when she passes, when she's on the other side? Yes and no. This is where my belief gets a little complicated. Because we are the combination of so many different lifetimes, and because our souls are so much bigger than the limitations of our human bodies, so much bigger than the limitations of the racial identities, the sexual orientations, the gender identities, the hair color, the social status, the economic status, so much bigger than all those things. Our soul, I believe, has no gender, and our soul has no identity. Our soul just is. It is light. It is God. So when we pass, we are nothing, but we are everything. Mind blown. We are the collection of everything that's ever happened. including the lifetimes that we've had. Because we are the collection of everything that's ever happened, everything that is happening, everything that will ever happen. When I channel a soul in a mediumship reading and I get someone's father, that soul is coming through presenting itself as your father. But that soul is more than just that. Being your father, being that soul, being the soul who was once your father, is that and so many other things. Even as I say all that, I'm like, that's complicated. It is complicated. It's complicated, but it's also simple. Because, again, my mind can change in 5, 10, 15 years. Absolutely. I'm open to my mind changing. Again, y'all, 13 to 15 years ago, I was a Christian who said this was all demonic. All this stuff we're talking about, okay? So my mind can change a lot, by a lot. We are everything that our soul has ever experienced through many lifetimes. And we are also one with everything, one with God, and God is everything. And we can opt in to it's like being an actor, actually. An actor goes through many roles. Meryl Streep has played many roles. And Meryl Streep, at the snap of a finger, can probably say, we can probably tell her, hey, do your Miranda Priestley right now. She does Miranda Priestley. Do whatever the Mamma Mia character was. Do XYZ character. And she'll remember a little bit of what that character was like, and she'll hop into it for the moment. I believe our soul works the same way in mediumship readings, and works the same way, period. When a soul says hello to a family member as a sign, appears to a family member, it takes on the role that it had. To some people, that may feel a little bit sad, I'm going to acknowledge, because, well, why can't the soul of my father be just my father? Why does he have to be these other things that I have no familiarity with? But when we start asking that question and thinking that way, we are limiting ourselves. We are limiting the possibilities of the soul. And that's when the ego kind of steps in. I say that with a lot of love. The ego wants things to be as we expect them to be. Now, the ego is not a bad thing. The ego is what helps me say, my ego helps me say, my name is Juan, I am Latino, I live in New York City, I really love chocolate. The ego helps me know myself. And that's why I said, when our souls pass, our souls are no longer our race, our identities, layers of identity. The ego isn't there. There's no ego on the other side. We just are. Now let me address the elephant in the room. Because as someone like myself who is very much aware and sometimes very passionate about racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, what does all that mean in the context of what I'm saying about who we are when we die? When we enter this world, when our souls enter this world, we are born into human beings with certain attributes, with certain characteristics that may be predetermined as meaning XYZ about you when we're born. Being born into a black body, being born into a body that is homosexual, being born into a body that is a woman. All those things are beautiful. It's what society already believes about those things before you're born and when you're born that makes it really freaking tough to live here sometimes. That doesn't mean Me saying that we are not any of those things when we pass does not mean that those things don't matter when we're here in the physical world. We are born into this physical world to experience the physical world. We are born to touch those plants. Not say, oh, because everything is God and a soul and everything becomes nothing when it dies, that tree really doesn't matter. No, that's not the case, everybody. That tree matters because a part of God came into this universe to manifest itself as a tree and therefore is valuable, has a purpose. Someone was born as a gay person, as a woman, for a reason. To know themselves more, to know their souls more, to express the depths of their souls more. I was born into this gay body, this person who happens to be gay. I was born with the features I have to experience something different, to experience life from a different perspective. Something that gets very, very tricky is when people say, oh, I was Native American in a past life, and they're a white person, right? Now, I did have a past life based on my regression experience as a Native American in the Yosemite region in the late 1800s. That's what I saw, that's what I felt. But I'm not going to go around and say, well, because I was Native American, I can do XYZ thing that Native Americans do. And that thing may be something that's very deeply important to Native Americans. Or it could be something that can come off as mimicry and therefore be disrespectful. And there are ways to honor other cultures or to pay homage to other cultures, to pick up the habits or the rituals of other cultures in a way that's respectful and gives back to that culture, not just takes it all up for yourself. So using this excuse of, well, I was black in a past lifetime, so I can do this. It's not that simple, and it's not that... It's unfair. We are born... If you're born as a white person in this lifetime, there's a reason you were born as a white person, and you probably shouldn't be anything else. It's not your right to do that. But what does that mean when people are... Now it's got me thinking. I don't know. Now my mind is exploding because I'm thinking of different concepts now. But for the sake of not complicating this podcast episode, I'm going to leave it at that. Because I don't believe there is any caveat. There is no exception to that. It's icky. If you're born into this lifetime and you feel like the fullest expression of yourself is XYZ, pursue that. But don't do it at the cost of other people's freedom of expression. So again, going back to when we die, who are we? When we die, we don't have any of these identities. But that's when we die. We're not dead. We're here, we're alive. Hopefully healthy. Or getting healthier. We're here with these identities for a reason. We're here to respect those identities. We're here to respect the tree because it exists. Not dismiss it because it will one day not be a tree. So this is where there's that dichotomy. That when we pass, we are nothing but we're everything. But when we're in the physical world, we are also, we're also everything. These concepts are wild. I know. Maybe it'll make sense if I write about it one day. I don't know. But we are here to experience everything. We are here to know that we are everything, that we are love. So when we channel a loved one from the other side, At least I've never channeled a loved one who's told me they're unhappy, they're not at peace. I've always channeled loved ones who know exactly who they are, who they were when they were in this physical world. But just know that your father's soul, your child's soul, is that and more, even more. And I think that's beautiful. I think it's lovely to think how we are not limited to just who we were in the physical world. We are that and so much more. So much more. Wonder how that lands with all of you. It's like when I first read Conversations with God. I remember reading it, and I would have to reread certain sentences. I was like, wait, what? Wait, what? What did it say? What did God say? And some of the concepts in that book I didn't love. Made sense, but I didn't love them. Thought this is crazy. But I don't pretend to be like Neil Donald Walsh, but this is what I believe right now. And maybe it will change. And maybe next time I will still do a 40-minute solo episode, unlike unlike the last one where I kept it under 30 minutes because I promised to make these shorter. I feel like I was rambling. Well, before we close out, I just want to share with everybody and remind you that I am a wedding officiant. I can do your wedding. I can marry you and your person. And you can go to my website to find out more under the weddings tab. And I'm also fully open for readings. My books are pretty open. And you can also book me for readings on my website. What did you think about what I said today? Can we have a conversation about it if you disagree? Let's not jump to judgments. Because I'm here to learn. I'm here saying that I ain't God. I don't know all the answers. And I'm not going to demonize you or make you feel like you're ridiculous if you don't agree with me. Because I'm still learning, and I think there's still much more for me to learn. This is just all based on what I feel today. So, what do you think? Email me, DM me, and see you on the next episode. Hey, are you liking the supernatural and self-empowerment talk? Then follow the podcast and please leave a review. If you want me to talk about a specific subject on the podcast or you have a question for the podcast, go to juanfranciscospirit.com and go to my contact page and submit that question.